Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the She Shines Show. We are so honored to be here with Lisa Song Sutton, four-time entrepreneur, Forbes writer, TEDx speaker, and Miss Nevada US 2014. Lisa, welcome.
Amazing.
Please say hi to everyone.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We are so delighted to have you on and dive into these questions. So can you go ahead and, walk us through your journey? Where were you prior to starting your very first business? I mean, hello, four times over now. So the very first one. And then also, like, what made you take that leap into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So before I started my first company, which was Sin City Cupcakes, I was working full-time in a law firm. The firm still does to this day, business litigation and business bankruptcy, among other practice areas. And I really enjoyed working there. Started Sin City Cupcakes kind of on a whim, and it grew. And through that experience, I realized that I was going to have an opportunity to have my own company. And so 18 months into the operations of Sin City Cupcakes was when I left my job at the law firm.
Wow. And we were chatting a little bit before we started recording today, how you actually liked your job at the law firm and in fact stayed there for what you said, like about 18 months, right? Before going into full-time entrepreneurship. So as a community that serves other multi-passionate entrepreneurs, we really appreciate the honesty because we know many of our community members are working a full-time job and growing a business on the side, or they are working multiple businesses. So, just to be upfront and honest about, it's not always a struggle of doing, being multi-passionate. You can actually like your passions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's possible.
It's totally okay. Yeah. It's totally okay to like your 9 to 5 and still want to pursue, other streams of income and have other side hustles going on too.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of multi-passionate, right? You have 4 different companies in 4 different industries. And one of the questions we get frequently from our community is, how do I know which idea to pick? How do I know what to focus on? Which one is actually going to work, right? So what's your advice on knowing which ideas to actually pick, and then how to take that idea from just a random thought and execute it and land a customer?
I think one of the best ways to decide which endeavor to pursue is to really kind of drill down and hone in on yourself. What are your core strengths, right? What are the key things that you're good at, and what is the value that you're going to bring in starting this company? I think it's really important to remember as well to team up with, ideally an operations partner, but someone who has more experience than you in whatever category it may be. So that way you can really build the company together in a very organic way, in a way that also suits everyone, where everyone's kind of bringing their strengths to the table. It's really important to just remember that and have confidence in yourself that you're making the right decision.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
How do you get over that shiny object syndrome? Because, as multi-passionate, you're like,
world brain.
Ooh, that looks good. And that looks good. And I'm definitely want to start that business, and I'm going to do that business after. Like, how do we decrease the shiny object syndrome?
Yeah. I think it's really important to remember just, like I said, figure out like what your core strengths are, but then also what's your overall objective? Like, why are you wanting to start these businesses? Is it because you want to be financially stable? Do you want different streams of revenue coming in from different sources? Do you want to quit your day job? Like, what is the goal here, right? Like, why are you even excited and exploring this in the first place? So again, that all just goes to questions that you have to have for yourself in order to try to drill down and figure out, what am I good at? What am I going to bring to the table? And then how are we going to execute properly in all these great ideas that I hear?
Absolutely. Yes. I love, being able to tap into those things for yourself. Here at She Shines, we call that your champagne dream, like that why that's going to drive you to, when the going gets tough, because we all know it will. And speaking of things getting tough, as multi-passionate women, having so many ideas and things going on, pursuing your passions can sometimes feel a little overwhelming. So what would be your advice to other multi-passionates in pursuing your passion, successfully without getting burned out?
Well, number one, remember that social media is truly a highlight reel, right? It's social media is comprised of posts of people usually in general posting, the great things that are happening in their life and the big client that they landed and, all the successes that they've had. Right. So remember that, because I think it's easy for us to immediately start comparing, and we're like, God, that person is just crushing it. Every day they're posting on anything. And, that may be the case sometimes, but that's not the case all the time. Absolutely. And it's important to remember that social media in general is a highlight reel of everyone else's, great big wins. So don't use that to compare to your everyday life and the struggles that you're going through. Secondly, surround yourself with the right people. You've got to have the right type of support around you, whether that's great business partners, great mentors, family, friends, whoever that is for you and what that means for you. You've got to surround yourself with the right people who really do have your best interests at heart.
Yeah. Absolutely. We always, and you said this too, and I mean, we agree, you can't do it all by yourself, and I mean, we definitely have been there when we try to just plow through that to-do list and we're just like, go, 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 you hit a wall, and you do burn out. So having, whether it is a business partner or, you're having a team or you have those systems in place, and making sure that you are giving yourself the chance to rest and not burn the candle at both ends, but have those systems in place to make your business processes a little bit more, not to say they're going to be easy, but a little bit more easy than, we don't want to make
just more bearable.
Yes, right. That's a good word. Let's make it a little bit more bearable.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, goodness. All right. Let's talk a little bit about, so we talked about burnout. Another thing that we probably all deal with as entrepreneurs is imposter syndrome.
Daily.
Right? Daily. Yeah. I know it's funny, before recording, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm getting a little nervous to talk to Lisa, 4-time entrepreneur. So yeah, definitely had a little imposter syndrome earlier. But so speaking of imposter syndrome, you grew your business, right? 7 figures, no investors, which is incredible. What are some ways that beginning business owners can be resourceful with their marketing, their sales, the ins and outs of owning and running a business as someone who is new and who is most likely going to be dealing with imposter syndrome along the way?
Yeah. Well, when you're just starting out, and I mean, going back to even my, previous answer about, imposter syndrome, again, don't compare your everyday life to what's going on someone's highlight reel on their social media. But when you're first starting out, I mean, rely on your sphere of influence. There's so much you don't know, especially in the beginning, that you will not learn unless it's through experience.
Right.
So lean on people who have more experience than you, and lean on your sphere of influence. So, literally, pick up your phone and make a list of 10 or 20 people that in your phone. Obviously, these are people you have their phone number, right? You can call or text them, and look through your phone and make a list of people who could possibly help you with your business. Whether that's someone who has an area of expertise that you don't have, or someone who's done it before, or even just someone who has life experience on you, right? There's so much that we can glean. And when you lean on people who are within your sphere, sometimes people are just so honored that you're asking. So don't be scared to pick up the phone and just have a really organic conversation, right? Hey, I just want to catch up with you. How are you doing? What are you working on? Yeah. And then organically, the conversation will come back around to what you're working on, right? And then there's an opportunity for you guys to have a conversation about that.
There you go. That is your entire script, top to bottom. Right. So go pick up your phone, figure out who you can ask, right? Yeah. That's so great. Leverage who is already there, who has already shown that they're already there for you. I love that. Now, can we talk a little, we've talked a lot about mindset because we feel it's so important as an entrepreneur, because you do encounter those roadblocks. Right. What other sort of mindset blocks have you encountered along the way, and how did you get past them?
I mean, there's so many, right? We're human. And so we go through, all those different changes in emotions and self-doubt. But, for me, I've really been able to just kind of hone in, like I said, and then just embrace myself and like things I'm good at and things I'm not. And it's like knowing that there's some comfort in that, right? Where you can admit like there are things I'm not good at. So I'm going to leave those for my partners. I'm going to leave those for other people who can help me that carry this load. My parents have always told me, this is something that stuck with me. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Oh. And I think, you know, there's always, I feel like in general, right? There's a chance there's always going to be someone who's smarter than you or prettier than you or more successful than you or has, you know, goes on more vacations than you, whatever it is. Right. But at the end of the day, like the things you can control that are within your wheelhouse are important to concentrate on. And of course, like your amount of effort. You have total control over the amount of effort that you put into something and your work ethic, right? You have total control over that. No one else is controlling that for you. So what do you do with that, right? When you're in a position where you're like, you know what, I may not know as much as that other person, but I'm in a position that I can outwork them at least, right? So do that then, like bring your work ethic to the table. And I promise like that speaks loads, that speaks volumes, and your clients will see it. Partners will see it, you know, others in the community will see it. And that's something you totally have control over.
That is so amazingly said. There were so many things that came to my mind, but I know like listening to stories of even professional athletes who may not have been the most talented naturally.
Right. They don't have like the God-given, right. Like whatever it is, not as innate, but like they outworked them.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. That is huge advice. So if you are feeling that imposter syndrome or you're telling yourself something that is just untrue, remember that you do have control over how much work you put in. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yes. And Lisa, thank you so much for sharing your advice with us today on how to pick an idea as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, how to beat burnout, and how to actually be resourceful, you know, with that sphere of influence to help yourself with marketing, sales, and just the ins and outs as a beginning entrepreneur, which I know we all could use, you know, a little leg up in the beginning. So can you tell where we can connect with you so everyone can go follow and see what you've been up to?
Of course. You can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Lisa Song Sutton.
Awesome. Amazing. Is there anything that you're working on in any of your businesses?
Any of the four.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, you know, we're very, very focused right now on, you know, turning the corner out of 2020 and just staying focused on, you know, continuing to ramp up and build. And, you know, real estate in particular has been on fire here in Nevada, which has been really exciting. And so we've just been very focused on, you know, the real estate market here and continuing to make good moves.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Yes. Congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome news. Well, we hope you have enjoyed this episode of the She Shines Show. Until next time, keep shining. Hey there, I'm Anna Laura.
And I'm Alex, and we are the founders of She Shines. So whether you are working full-time, you are a side business queen, full-time entrepreneur, or somewhere in between, we are here to support you.
Yes, and we love doing that through connection, community, and girl talk, usually with a glass of champagne in hand. And we would love to connect with you, whether it's through our She Shines Academy, through our podcast, through an event, or through our text fam. We would love to answer your questions and help support you any way that we can.
We hope to hear from you soon. Cheers, girlfriend.